Welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app today and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Welcome into a remote version of the CHGO White Sox podcast. I'm Sean Anderson, the host of the CHGO White Sox podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Vinnie Duber. He's at his home. He's not back from Australia. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. And the man, not in the middle today, but always number one in my heart, Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. And we got a lot to talk about today. And Stupid Donkey says it's perfect timing. Hopefully y'all are ready to start your holidays with us. And we could take you into, a good Christmas Eve and Christmas Day weekend. And then
because everyone is off work tomorrow because, it's going to, rain ice from the sky or something horribly. Maybe there's going to be some sort of frost giant appearance roaming through downtown Chicago. This storm is getting a lot of hype, guys, and I'm not sure we're even going to hit a foot of snow.
Isn't it already happening? I saw the radar. It looked like it was already done after like 4 p.m. I don't know if there's like a second wave coming.
Yeah, it's going to stop after like 8 totally, and just blowing snow after that. So that might be the more pressing thing where you can't have visibility in front of you because all the snow that's on the ground is going to be in your face. So that's why I was initially going to drive back to the suburbs tonight, but I was like, let's take it easy and just go tomorrow and make sure we have some good visibility.
Maybe we'll be on the same Metro, Herb.
No, I'm driving. Sorry. My Metro days are over, sadly.
It's the way to really fly.
It is.
Right. But sadly, isn't it your choice?
No, it is my choice, but I did enjoy a smooth Metro ride because you can do whatever you want. Drink a beer on the car. As long as it wasn't one of those quiet cars, you can talk, you can listen to your movies, whatever you want to do. It is the way to really fly. Thank you, Vinny. Yeah, it was a good place and a good way to get to work every day when I came back from San Diego.
All right. Hey, I used to take it in the South Side and even Lollapalooza. That was our way of passage. And man, those train cars can get messy. Let's talk a little bit about the White Sox today, guys, if that's okay with you. We're going to talk a little bit about Liam Hendriks for hopefully the last time this offseason, unless something else happens. And then we're going to be having a little bit of fun here on this Thursday/Friday. No episode tomorrow. We're usually Sunday through Thursday, but no episode tomorrow. We did do one last week on Friday, but that was because of the Andrew Benintendi news. We do have an episode for you on Monday, which should be a lot of fun. So make sure you are subscribing. And even though it will be the day after Christmas, we'll still be able to take you to work or take you through your day off. But let's talk about Bob Nightingale's latest report/tweet. The Chicago White Sox say that they may, while they indeed may be listening in on trade overtures, their current plan is to retain all-star closer Liam Hendriks in hopes they can bounce back and win the AL Central. So exactly what we've been saying. It makes no sense to trade Liam Hendriks. So sigh of relief here. Just think we don't need to talk about it. What's the feelings?
Yeah, makes total sense. I think we were talking for several days now about all those rumors. Again, Liam Hendriks really the only person who's been mentioned in terms of someone who is even drawing interest or that the White Sox might be listening on. We heard at the end of the season that Rick Hahn was open to thinking about trading anybody to make this team better. And yet the closer's name is really the only one that's come up. We haven't heard, they're listening on Tim Anderson or so-and-so is interested in Eloy Jimenez. It's just been Liam Hendriks. And so makes plenty of sense that the White Sox would want to hang on to a guy who might be the best closer in baseball ahead of a season in which they might, or they're hoping to make a run at a championship. So to go ahead and make it known or for someone to go find out perhaps that they don't really want to part with Liam Hendriks is not surprising at all. That's probably what we came to the conclusion yesterday would make the most sense for this team moving forward.
And I'm glad it's over because all the nonsense from Mets fans and other fans talking about all the Sox they can get on their team, they're like Liam Hendriks and Eloy Jimenez for James McCann and Eduardo Escobar. I was like, please stop with all this nonsense. James McCann got traded to the Baltimore Orioles. Thank you. We don't have to hear about him until his deal is, like in the trade deadline of 2 years from now. But by that time, Lucas Giolito could not be a White Sox, so we wouldn't be hearing about James McCann because I think that's what most White Sox fans are thinking, that James McCann can fix Lucas Giolito, even though, it's more Ethan Katz. So I'm glad that the nonsense about Liam Hendriks is piping down. And thank you, Bob, for allowing that to pipe down, because we know Bob has someone's ear at the White Sox and he's sending out the good message that they have out there. And maybe this is a ploy for Rick, Kenny, to say, hey, have somebody else send us some trade deadline or some trade talk for Liam Hendriks instead of these Mets people. There's not a fit there. Somebody else wants Liam Hendriks and they're willing to give up some big ass players, then we'll talk. Otherwise, no, let's stop talking about Liam Hendriks, because this man is valuable to our 2023. And unless you're going to break the bank on the other side with actual MLB players, there's no need to talk anymore.
I do think it's funny that Rick has started off the offseason saying we're going to be making a lot of trades, or we're looking to be in the trade market and be active in the trade market. So far, they haven't made any trades, and they've signed 2 free agents. And
Sean, you lie. There was a trade literally just today.
Oh, right. I guess that was a trade. So the San Francisco Giants designated our guy Gregory Santos, new player Gregory Santos. He will be a White Sox in 2023. He's not on the 26 man. I think he's on the 40 man.
Yep.
So he'll be on the 40 man. And Cade McClure. Nice knowing you. Not who's the guy from The Simpsons?
Troy McClure?
Troy McClure, not Troy McClure. Maybe possibly related, but Cade McClure, former pitcher out of Louisville, was a 6th rounder for the Sox back in 2017. He was sitting around like the low 20s in the rankings for the Sox. I don't think he was anything too special. So I think it was an interesting swap, but more bullpen arms for the 40-man roster. I don't get it. It just seems, again, like they're building up their strength. So maybe, again, is that a signal that the person to leave this roster is going to be a reliever, just probably not named Liam Hendriks?
Multiple things on Gregory Santos. Coming from the San Francisco Giants organization where Ethan Katz came from. So he might have some familiarity with the guy. Also had an 80-game suspension that he served for PEDs. And I'm just thinking they DFA'd him. The Giants DFA'd him. So theoretically, the White Sox could have just waited the week if no one else claimed him to pick him up for free.
But they would have to go through waivers. I mean, and then they would have to make sure that, they must have really liked him.
That's my point. The White Sox had to really like this guy to trade anybody for him. And Cade McClure is not anything special. I didn't see him on any top 30 list, and maybe I missed that. But he's getting traded over to the Giants. The White Sox are acquiring this Gregory Santos. And if Ethan Katz made this call or somebody in the front office made this call, I'm willing to look at it. And yes, it's another bullpen arm. But like I said, it's a lot of stuff out there that just seems like, okay, they could have just waited on this guy. Why did they jump the gun on him? And I'm looking at his case for 9. It's not spectacular in the minors or the majors. So I'm trying to think what's so special about this guy. Ethan just must believe in his abilities so much that he can fix this guy.
I got it. And I do like Alex's view on the suspension here. That suspension just means he'll do anything he can do to help the team win, which is, again, he's a team player. But Gregory Santos, young, only 23 years old. I think he'll probably be 24. I'm not sure if by the season starts. Let me just double check. No, he'll be 24 on August 28th. So kind of Leo season, a little bit in, I think that's Libra season. So, got a cusper here, but he's big. 6'2", 190, looks even bigger on the mound, and the fastball is big. It touches 101, like 98 to like 99 usually is where it sits, but it could jump up to 101. And then I think even Sleepy Harold said 70 slider. I retweeted something from when he was in the majors, I think in 2021, going up against Jazz Chisholm, and there's a slider 90 miles per hour that is just disgusting right under the hand. So there's something there. I just don't know how good it is. But hey, I think it's a lot more than Anderson Espinoza, right? Who was the guy that was who is the guy that
Sean Anderson Espinoza? Yes.
Was it
right?
Sean
Anderson Severino?
Sean Anderson Severino.
Who is not tall. He's very short.
He's very short. So that's the thing, is I think they like the body type. I think it probably seems like there's something that they could unlock, hopefully, with his lower half. We've seen that with Ethan Katz projects before. The core velocity belt. Hopefully that can allow him to maintain control, maintain repeatability, and find something for him in the bullpen. But it's another arm, which is fine. The White Sox need depth arms, and doesn't mean that he will be on the 26-man roster. So it's an interesting piece. Didn't mean to break it down. Where were we? Why did we bring up the trade? Oh, because Rick Hahn talking about trades. I guess they did make a trade. All right. So Rick Hahn has not been is not a liar. man of his word. But the two big moves that they've made have been, and not at a minor league level, have been Mike Clevenger, a free agent signing, and Andrew Benintendi, a free agent signing. So I just don't know where that next trade is going to come. We've been trying to figure it out. And what he kept saying was they're open to anything. They're open to anything. They're open to anything. Well, after that press conference, he said, mentioned the shortstop market and mentioned they're opening to everything. Then I think a report came out from James saying, well, the White Sox aren't that interested in trading Tim Anderson, so probably don't ask. And now we keep hearing Liam Hendriks pop up, and we're not so interested. Stop asking. So they're not really open to everything, it seems.
Well, I think the point is that you got to consider everything, right? And what did Rick say at the winter meetings that made, to me, complete sense, which is, guys, we're doing our job here. If we don't listen to what other teams have to say, we're not taking any steps in any direction. And I think if someone calls up and says, hey, we want Tim Anderson, you might go, ooh, I don't know if that's going to happen. But what are you going to do? You're going to say you're just going to hang up the phone and not hear that the other team might have offering their 4 best players in mind to you. I mean, that's a very unlikely thing to happen. But again, you've got to go ahead and have these conversations. You've got to go ahead and listen to the ideas of other teams. There's plenty of White Sox fans out there that, would go ahead and make the reverse thing. Oh, we want the best player from that team. We want the best player from this team. If all that happens when you call up and ask for someone good is that the phone gets hung up, then nothing's ever going to happen. So these things have to be listened out, even if the chances of something happening are minuscule. I don't think you can say the White Sox have 100% chance of hanging on to Liam Hendriks or 100% chance of hanging on to Tim Anderson. Even if they do have a 99% chance of hanging on to those things, you got to listen to other teams' ideas, because there's a 1% chance that it is going to be really, really beneficial to your club.
And I hope that when these teams call Rick and ask for Tim Anderson or Liam Hendriks, Eloy Jimenez, Rick said, cool, give me the player that I want and a specific name to this player or players that he wants. And then if there's a deal there, or if there's conversations to be had after that, cool. But if that person's not willing to be in that ballpark where Rick's asking for, then he can, say, hey, man, you want Tim, he cost this. If you're not willing to give this, the conversation's over, sir. We're not willing to give these players up. If you're calling me with our inquiry for Tim, come with real stuff. Don't be giving me minor league stuff. Give me the player I want. Otherwise, we'll see you at another time and we'll reconvene for a different trade. But I hope that, the fact that he hasn't made a trade of any significance, I don't take it too much. I just hope that he's asking for what he wants, is getting turned down. And if he gets turned down through all the offseason, I'm good with that, because then he's not just giving away players just because in the press conference in November, he said, we'll be going in the trade route more than the free agent route. I want him just to be giving good deals for the White Sox and not beholden to the words that he might have said in general. And the fans are like, okay, we need to trade these players.
I agree.
We need to go via trade instead of free agency.
I agree with you there, and I disagree just because, I don't want them to make a bad deal. Who would? But also, we saw the trade deadline. They waited too long. They didn't really pull the trigger. I don't know if he's... I mean, we've seen him pull triggers on trades before, so I shouldn't say he's trigger shy or anything like that. But I don't know. I feel like I brought it up. I just don't know if he's valuing his players the right way, but it does seem possible that maybe the White Sox were asking for Jeff McNeil, and that price was just too high for Liam Hendriks, which I think is understandable. As for Liam Hendriks specifically, I understand being, picky and choosy, but for other people, maybe a little bit lower down. I'm not sure if, they might value people a little bit more than outsiders do. We do have a super chat here, and we have 55 people watching. Stefan Bardo is one of them. Thank you for the super chat, Stefan. Gut feeling, Mike Moustakas will get a deal with the Sox. Happy holidays. Thank you for everything you guys do. Go Sox. Thanks for always being in the chat, always sending in super chats, and being an active member of our little CHGO White Sox community here on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Mike Moustakas, fellas.
I will say this, and someone in the comments already beat me to it. Pedro Grifol's Royals connections would certainly seem to make there be some sort of chance that could happen. Here's what I'll say. If they can get him on a minor league deal, 100%. There is no reason not to sign him to a minor league deal and invite him to spring training and see what he can do. As for giving him a deal of some significance, however, the last 3 years in Cincinnati went very, very badly for Mike Moustakas, a guy who with even the Brewers, even after he left Kansas City, was an all-star, a big-time home run hitter, never got to a significant number of games played in a season with the Reds, just constantly injured, and never got to a double digits in home runs in a single season with the Reds in the 3 years of those deal. He was just really bad, and mostly because he was not healthy in 3 years, which is a long time. It's one thing for you to be coming off a down year and you can say, oh, all right, well, we'll give him another shot here. But to go ahead and commit multiple years or even significant money when you're in apparently the restricted payroll that the White Sox are in, to chew up some of the maybe last remaining space you've got with a guy who you don't know if he's going to be healthy or if he's going to produce, that's tough. And then that's all on top of the fact that he's not really a second baseman. He can play. He has played second base, but he's a third baseman. So if
he's a DH.
And that might be the case with the health history, right? So if you're going to go ahead and say, oh, we're going to sign this guy who hasn't played very many games and hasn't hit very many home runs to be our second baseman, that seems like a tough strategy. But you can get him on a minor league deal and bring him to spring training. Done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm good on Mike Moustakas. 26% strike rate, under 10% walk rate, negative WARs in the last 2 years. Like if we were talking about Bellinger and maybe him cracking out and being the player that he used to be, I mean, this guy used to be just a above average hitter, good for a second baseman, third baseman when he was going against the White Sox as a Royal and a Brewer, but now he's washed for me. And so, as Vinny just said, he barely plays second base. I think he played like 80 games in his whole career at second base. If we're going to do that, I would rather go and get 36-year-old Elvis Andrus to do that because I know he can still hit. I don't know if Mike Moustakas can either field or hit. So what do you do here, Mike Moustakas? No, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I would pass too if it's not a minor league deal. Minor league deal, why not? I mean, take the shot. I mean, it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah, that's nothing. You can do that.
Fine with that. Surprising, I guess. 129 attempts in 2019 at second base, a -1 outs above average at second base for the Milwaukee Brewers, and then in 94 attempts with the Reds in 2020 at second base, a -1 outs above average. So, not the worst. I mean, it's a very small sample size, like you said, but.
You'd probably, I think if you had to choose between giving time at second base to Mike Moustakas or time at second base to Jake Berger, you'd probably go with Mike Moustakas.
I'd probably go with Mike Moustakas. I would probably go with Andrew Vaughn. I'm with Tony La Russa still. I'd probably go with Andrew Vaughn over Jake Berger too. Our guy Eli is up and kicking around in Israel, and he dropped a 35.90 news shekel bomb. So we appreciate that for the super chat, Eli. Thank you very much. And also too, Steven in the chat saying RIP to Danny Mendick. He's not dead, but he signed with the Mets for a 1 year, $1 million deal.
Hey, major league deal. We didn't think he was going to get a major league deal. So, but of course, who would give the major league deal but the freewheeling New York Mets?
Yeah. A raise too, didn't he? Got like $1 million.
What's up, Steven?
No, I mean, they must have been worried about Carlos Correa's health. They're like, let's go get Danny Mendick because ACL's probably fine, right?
Probably. Mendick, I think, was his offer, or not the qualifying, but the tender was, I think, was $1 million. So they declined $1 million and they paid him $1 million. So I think that's why you saw him sign so quickly. I guess that was probably the first offer he got. I don't know. And
I think he's from Rochester, New York. I don't know how close that is to New York City, but he probably always was a fan of either the Yankees and Mets and have his family come down closer to see him play for the 9 Mets.
Might be closer. That might be closer to Toronto, to be quite honest with you. He might be a Blue Jays fan.
Isn't what team? I mean, I think the Blue Jays have Rochester in their minor league system. So, I mean, he just signed with the wrong team. And I think Eli meant to attach a chat to his actual super chat here. He said, what about Gleyber? But he spelled it Glaber. I assume he's talking about Gleyber Torres. We've mentioned Gleyber before. I just don't know what the Yankees are doing. They just introduced a freshly shaven Carlos Rodon today. They just introduced Aaron Judge as their captain the day before. I'm not really positive that they're going to move away from Torres, at least not until spring training or maybe the deadline. I feel like they're going to start opening day, at least with Torres as their starting second baseman.
It would be safe. We'll see if he ends up the best player of that bunch, right? I mean, there's some really highly rated infield prospects that the Yankees got coming. But again, prospects are just prospects until they start playing and you know what you got, right? So Torres is far more of a sure thing, I would have to imagine at this point, just because he has played multiple seasons of Major League Baseball. The other guys haven't. So it would be a smart move for the Yankees. But remember, they got DJ LeMahieu, who they can move all over the place. They got some players on that infield that aren't even the young guys. So it wouldn't be super surprising to see them move on from him. And I think that's why people keep talking about it, right? It makes sense as you know, they've got the depth. They can go get something to upgrade their pitching staff by moving a proven starting second baseman. But we'll see, because, you know, it takes two to tango, and who knows if the White Sox have the right outfit for a tango at this point.
All right. And
I agree. I mean, Gleyber, like the Yankees, I don't think have a pressing need there. If you're going to knock them over with a great deal, I think they'll listen and they'll, you know, execute. But if there's not a pressing issue there, there's nothing wrong with having a power hitting middle infielder on your team still, not relying on these highly touted prospects, but you have a certainty with Gleyber Torres for the most part.
He was one of these highly touted prospects, and now he's finally panning out. Why move away from him? You still got 2 years left to control too, so I don't think it's urgent for them to move it. I think they could run it back for at least one more season. Final thing before we move on to our ad break, and then suggest some statues for the outfield concourse.
I've got such a long list, Sean.
I have a pretty lengthy list. Northside, we probably have some crossover too. Northside Knowledge said Tim and Jazz together is too much swag. It would look so good. This has been brought up a ton since we've been mentioning second baseman. I just really don't think Jazz Chisholm is ever going to end up on the White Sox, period, at least this year. Like, I think we could stop bringing up his name. I don't think it's an actuality. They have shut down that they're interested in talking about Jazz Chisholm, the Marlins, and trading him. I really don't think that Jazz Chisholm will be traded. His name hasn't even popped up. I don't even know if he's that good. I mean, he's really good against righties.
Well, this is what I'll say is that if you're the Marlins now, I mean, what do you do? And I think we've kind of had this conversation in regards to the NL West, right? Talking about the Diamondbacks, and oh my God, you got the Dodgers, who are just kingpins. You've got the Padres spending all this money to bring guys in, and you've got the Giants, who have the capability to bring guys in. You know, obviously that didn't go so hot for them
when they want to.
But if you're the Diamondbacks, how can you win? What can you do? The Marlins are in the same division as the Phillies, your reigning pennant winner, the Braves, who won the World Series 2 years ago and are set up to be really good for a long time, and the Mets, who are breaking baseball by spending so much money. If you're the Marlins, how do you get good? And does holding on to Jazz Chisholm right now do anything for the Marlins to make them good? I mean, give them some credit. They're trying to get guys, right? They went out last winter and signed Avi Garcia and Jorge Soler. Like, they're trying to field a team. They're not like not doing anything. But
they tried to offer Justin Turner more money, and he said, "No, I'll go play for Boston for less."
Exactly. And so it's like, to what end does the Marlins having these guys on their team help them win? I mean, you're just hoping you catch lightning in a bottle one year, right? And shock the world and make the playoffs. But it's a tough way to live in being a team like that in one of those divisions. People lament, the White Sox not being able to dominate a weak AL Central. At least it's not hopeless, right? At least it's not, you're the fifth team in a division with three giants in it. In the NL West, that's literally the case. There's literally a giant. So what are you able to do? There really seems to be no way out for a team like that. So again, it could certainly be worse, White Sox fans, and you could be staring at a dynasty or three sitting above you in the division, as opposed to you trying to get yours off the ground.
Yeah, and there's really no rush for the Marlins to get rid of Jazz Chisholm. And I'm going to take a little umbrage with you, Sean. He is a good player. He's played only
he was a bad player. I know,
but you said I don't know if he is a good player. He's a good player. His defense plays and his offense is starting to develop. He's 24 years old, 25 next year. I think with 4 more years of control, there's no reason for the Marlins to give away this player unless they're blown away by a major league or a minor league talent that they're getting back, which the White Sox don't have. So Jazz Chisholm will not be a White Sox in the near future. I don't think we need to talk about that anymore, because there's no reason for the Marlins to part with him unless he's just a disruption in the clubhouse where they got to get rid of him. And like I said, that will be give me a bunch of minor leaguers, highly touted minor leaguers. Here's Jazz Chisholm with 4 more years of control, not even RB eligible yet.
Right. I mean, Alex brings that up that they've got Sandy locked down for the next 4, and they got Jazz under control for the next 4. So, I mean, if you want to keep those two, on the same team, I think it would make sense. I just wanted to, you look at the splits, him against right-handers, 927 OPS, him against left-handers, under 6. All right. So, I mean, he is kind of one-sided. If the White Sox acquired him, I don't know if they'd be doing well against Carlos Rodon in a Yankee uniform. Like, I don't know. We'll have to see how he develops because, again, he's only 25, but that's probably why the Marlins won't trade him. We would never trade Foco. You've got your leader in Chicago sports coverage, so get fitted in the best sports gear around. Foco has you covered from Soldier Field to the front room, north or south side, with hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Get decked out like DeMar with apparel from the leaders in sports merchandise and collectibles. Foco, if you're looking for the perfect gift for the football fan in your life, Foco's got you covered with hoodies to fight that Lake Michigan snow. So check out Foco.com. That's FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below. And for all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. Again, Foco.com. That's FOCO, or click the link in the description below. For all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. And hey, on Saturday, the Bears play. They're taking on the Bills at 12 p.m. and Game Time is the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals to tickets, sports, concerts, and shows. If you've ever dreamed about being at the Bears game at the 50-yard line, it's possible with the Game Time app, especially with the weather conditions that are forecasted for Saturday. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you never thought you could buy because people don't want to sit on them in Saturday. So you won't find a better deal this season on Bears tickets. Right now, you can find 2 tickets, all in $23 to go see the Bears Bills on Saturday. You can go to Game Time right now. Click the link in the description below. There's some flash deals, $34 all in, $23 all in, $44 all in. I mean, even, lowest level, $135 for 2 tickets each. So make sure you're clicking those flash deals in the link below for Game Time. It's created by the fans for the fans, and it guarantees the lowest price. So if you love CHGO, then you love Game Time. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets to the link in the description. Join over 15 million people who have downloaded the Game Time app and score the best seats to all your favorite events. All right, Vinny, how long is the list?
My list? It's probably I've probably got about 10 or more.
All right, yeah, hell yeah. I think
they're not all good. They're all fun.
I got 7 that are they're definitely suggestions. I don't know if they're good suggestions. They are suggestions.
So here was the genesis of this. We were talking about this. I think it happened like right before a show the other day, because one of us said, what's the Jose Abreu statue going to look like, right? Jose Abreu, more than likely destined for statuehood out in the outfield concourse there at Guaranteed Rate Field. And so, we had fun talking about what sort of statue. Is it going to be screaming Jose Abreu rounding third base? Is it going to be Jose Abreu sliding in and tweaking his ankle for the walk-off win against the Royals? Or, would it be Jose Abreu, under the makeshift tent in Detroit to protect him from the sun? So we got thinking, if we're going to be that silly with the Jose statue, let's just go full silly and come up with a bunch of statues for Guaranteed Rate Field that are White Sox or White Sox adjacent that we will never, ever see. Just, as they say on the internet, wrong answers only. Here.
Yes.
So Sean, what is the next Guaranteed Rate Field statue? Wrong answers only.
Well, let's start off with an easy one, because the thumbnail is the man that will be on the Hall of Fame ballot. We don't know how long he will last, but he is a legend. So let's immortalize the legend. Let's go through just some of the statues first. But, we have obviously Minnie Miñoso in section 164, Carl Fisk in section 164, in section 100.
I like to call him Carl Fisk.
Carlton Fisk, my bad. That's because
they're close. He's got nicknames.
So I'm gearing up
Carl
for
Fisk.
Charles Comiskey. He's in section 100. Louis Aparicio is in section 100. Nellie Fox is in section 100. Billy Pierce is in section 164. Frank Thomas and Paul Konerko in section 160. And Harold Baines is in 105. So I think for 128, we need a Leury legend statue, and I think it should just be him beating his chest after he rounded third base after the home run. It's the biggest moment in White Sox postseason history in the last 16 years.
Okay, I was wondering.
I'll do you one better because I think I have one on my list that includes Larry Garcia, but isn't just him. You mentioned, they have out there in the outfield now, Nellie Fox and Louis Aparicio's statues are one and the same. They're turning a double play. Very, very cool. So why limit it to just one person? Trace Garcia's, the all Garcia outfield should be a statue there. Make sure you immortalize not just Leury, but Avi, and of course the great Willie Garcia. We will not put Willie Garcia out there, nearly decapitating Yoan Moncada. We're not going to do that. But the Trace Garcia's outfield, of course, is worthy of a wrong answers only statue.
If I couldn't get him one way, I wanted him another way. So I also wrote down the 3 Garcias. All right. So we did have some overlap already. Herb, where are you taking us?
Mine would be Kenny Williams in his golf cart, assembled media around him. So Vinny, you can be in here too.
Wow, this is an expensive statue.
Oh, very expensive.
You gotta have me and Daryl and James and Merck. That's a lot of bronze.
Yeah. I know he didn't say it to necessarily you specifically because this was in 2006, but Kenny Williams telling Frank Thomas to stay out of White Sox business in the cart. And then with all the microphones around there, that'll be perfect. That is the encapsulation of, I think about Kenny Williams all the time, just sitting in Arizona, chilling out in a cart, looking weird. Because he's going to have to have a statue anyways, eventually, right? Have him in his natural elements.
Absolutely.
Dan's got a good one there. I liked the, where was it? You just put it up, Steven.
The Tony running one?
Yes, Tony La Russa running out to defend Jose Abreu's honor. That's a pretty good one. If you're gonna make Jose Abreu's statue him getting hit by a pitch for the 8 millionth time, then you can go ahead and have Tony be a part of that for sure. But for my next one, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna include another one that includes one of us. I'm going to have it be Yasmani Grandal just flying by Herb in a foot race.
They could put it up where we used to beat Scott Podsednik in the fundamentals deck. Where that used to be, where Scotty Pods used to be on a track. We could put Yasmani Grandal up ahead and Herb just lying on the ground moaning.
Yeah, is my statue mid-fall?
No, post-fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
All on the ground. Rising and
sprawled out on the pavement.
Sean laughing, Steven asking for, it's like, are you all right?
Us filming behind you. I'm going to go to the chats too, because Christian stole one of mine. I had Leury Legend rounding third base. And you know what? Why not follow it up with another legend of middle infielder? I think you were talking about Darwin Barney. Was he the last Gold Glover for the White Sox? Was Yolmer Sanchez the last Gold Glover for the White Sox?
Dallas Keuchel was the last Gold Glover for the White Sox, and before him, Luis Robert won a Gold Glove for the White Sox. So the White Sox are just lousy with Gold Gloves.
Hey, at least one of those guys is still around. We're gonna go Yolmer Gatorade bath though. I'm going with Christian. I don't know if we need to put the Abreu statue on the bean. I'd like to see it when I go to White Sox games. But I think Yolmer dumping Gatorade on him would be a good one. And why not? I mean, that was during a rain delay, so why not get Mark Buehrle? I know Kenny didn't like it, but why not get Mark Buehrle sliding on the tarp? I think if we're gonna give Buehrle one, we should get a tarp slide for Buehrle.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Mark Buehrle does not have a statue currently, correct?
He does not.
He's got his number up there, but he's not like Konerko. He doesn't have a statue.
There is not a single pitcher with a statue.
Pierce?
Billy Pierce doesn't have one?
Billy Pierce, I thought he was an outfielder. That's on me. Thanks, folks. Thank you.
Yep.
So if you're going to go with if you're going to give Mark Buehrle a statue, it's got to be the between the legs flip, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, but then they already have Paulie. Like that should be the Nellie Fox that should be the Nellie Fox one.
There you go. Buehrle to Konerko, absolutely.
That one's a little too on point.
Another one of mine, I would go with Torrey Hunter running over Jamie Burke. It encapsulates a lot of things because the hatred for the Twins, unnecessarily taking out Jamie Burke, and it's the impetus for the White Sox doing what they did in 2005, getting rid of Carlos Lee, getting people who with a little bit more of a grit like AJ Brzezinski and Jermaine Dye, and it's like, okay. And the reason why Carlos Lee got traded is because he didn't retaliate the next day where he needed to take somebody out at second, like a Corey Koski or a Louis Rivas or Jason Bartlett or all the rest of the Bartletts they had there or the rest of the Jasons they had there. So, yeah, I would have that statue just to remind White Sox fans, this is how you got embarrassed by these Twins, and this is why you hate them, because Torrey Hunter firstly did that, and then he spurned Kenny at the Del Taco too. Man.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a White Sox, right?
Yeah, he was like either signed at a Del Taco with the Angels or was at a Del Taco with Kenny. And then like later on, he signed with the Angels like that day.
There used to be a Del Taco on 95th and Cicero, and I miss it to this day. Let's continue with some of these statues. There's some in the chat that I want to give. I would like I'm with Sleepy Harold. I would like a statue of the goose statue. I would like it out of marble or stone, not in the classic, white and yellow paint. Like I would want a statue of the sculpture.
Solid gold, Sean.
A golden goose for the
like
White Sox.
Like that nonsense statue of Alexander Hamilton at the north end of Lincoln Park, right there on Diversity Avenue, that is for some reason all gold, solid gold statue. Don't know why. But the goose really belongs in solid gold, in my opinion.
I agree. I think that's the right way to take it.
Finally, we could rig it to shoot beer out of the mouth too.
Finally, golden beer showers sounds fantastic. And then TJ Hankins saying, "How about AJ iconic run to first in the 2005 ALCS?" He says World Series there, but ALCS. Should it be with the Angels catcher having the ball in his glove too?
Yes.
Like showing that AJ is out, but we still won because we had heart and grit.
Absolutely. Speaking of heart and grit, or as some might call it, TWTW, how about a statue of Hawk Harrelson leaving the broadcast booth to go check on Todd Frazier? That'd be a good one.
That was on my list.
We can memorialize Hawk and Stone together, that iconic broadcast pairing that just loved doing games together. And it could be Steve Stone alone in the booth, and we could just say this is when Hawk Harrelson went to check on Todd Frazier.
Hey, I'm going down there. You take over.
I gotta go check on Todd.
Like the White Sox don't have a training staff. I got to check on him personally.
Personally.
And he was he wasn't even a long-time White Sox at the time. I think it may have been his first year. And he was so oh my God, Todd Frazier's hurt. I'd go down there and give the play-by-play duties to this former baseball player who's probably never done play-by-play by himself. They're coming. That's one.
There it is.
They're coming.
That's a statue we were talking about right before the show started. Is if we're going to put up CHGO White Sox statues, we have to have a statue of the fire truck going by Herb's window, which happens every time we do a remote show.
Herb rushing to mute his mic. Let's take a quick break here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think, left. So we got some more to rattle off here, but we got to let you know about Shady Rays. When you're looking at the golden goose in the outfield, you'll need some sunglasses because it will be so bright and shiny. They never understood, Shady Rays, why sunglasses were so expensive. So they set out to change it. You don't have to break the bank for quality sunglasses this fall because our friends at Shady Rays have you covered. I do think it's winter by now, but still, the sunglasses work fall, winter, spring, summer. Shady Rays are premium polarized shades featuring world-class optical clarity, substantial durability, and styles catered to everyone and every lifestyle. And the best part about Shady Rays, they have the most insane protection program in all of eyewear, lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your shades on day one, they told us that they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. If you dropped it in the lake, I don't know why you're that close to the lake while it's blizzarding. If you dropped it off a cliff, if you ran it over with your car, anything, they'll replace them. And they stand behind their product. They do have customers who have given them over 200,000 5-star reviews, but they still stand behind their product and told our team that if anyone has a problem, they will throw profit out the window and do what it takes to get it right. They offer free returns and exchanges. You either love the shades or Shady Rays will pay them to ship them back. That's it. So for our listeners, Shady Rays is running their deepest deal of the season. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. Buy one, get one free. You can get 2 pairs for as low as $54. Redeem only at shadyrays.com, where you can find the newest and best shades. Also got to let you know about DraftKings Sportsbook. They are a presenting sponsor, and betting wasn't good last night. I told you guys to watch the South Alabama game. I hope Vinny watched Modern Family instead because my picks were dead wrong, but it is still fun to watch sports and gamble on them while you do. It's that time of year. Everyone's excited about the gifts, the holiday spirit, but what about the basketball? When I throw down on NBA action, it's got to be with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can bet just $5 pregame money line on any NBA team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Plus, everyone can combine multiple bets for bigger payouts with DraftKings same-game parlays. The Bulls are on a 2-game win streak. They will be taking on the Knicks, who just beat them, I think, twice in a row. So if you're thinking the Bulls are going to get revenge, download the app today for new customers. Use code CHGO and see if the Bulls will win their next game against the Knicks. Make sure you're placing money down. And Maryland sports fans, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in your state, so download the app now to get in on the holiday hoops action. Sign up with code CHGO. Place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, next up, I got another Mark Buehrle one, but it's along the lines of a World Series save. I would love for him to just be in the dugout, maybe at his locker with empty beer cans just around his feet. I think that would be nice and tasteful for Mark Buehrle's solo statue if we're building just a solo non-Konerko flip one.
And our guy, was it Wonderplaid, has mine. Steve Psycho Lyons with his pants down at first base, looking up at the sky, just with his hands up. It's like, oh, I can't believe I'm out here with my drawers out.
I think we've got to go to the mascots. I would love to see a statue, of course, of my guy, Waldo the White Sox Wolf. Ribby and Rhubarb statues would be phenomenal as well. But how about Southpaw, specifically Southpaw at someone's wedding? I've always wanted to know, who are these people who are ordering Southpaw to go to their wedding? They advertise it all the time on the game broadcast. You can hire Southpaw to be at your kid's birthday party or come to your wedding. So let's have Southpaw either officiating a wedding or cutting the cake at a wedding. I think that would be fun, just to let people know that that's an option for them if you want to get Southpaw, for your nuptials.
Good advertising.
Are those Ribby and Rhubarb and Waldo statues of memorial because they're not with us anymore?
Yes, there you go. They're the memorial White Sox or Waldo the White Sox Wolf statue.
It was so quick. They didn't even announce that he was going away.
It's a bummer. He never even got a costume. He wasn't even a person that walked around and, did crazy things. He was just a cartoon character.
Just a kids club thing.
Yeah.
I'm for as many mascots as possible. Have
active
mascots
at once.
Have a crew. Have Southpaw and crew. Have Ribby. Have Rhubarb. Have a wolf. Why not? What's Southpaw?
A Muppet, a monster of
monster?
some kind.
A baseball Muppet. I don't know. Speaking of memorials, what about a Dustin Fowler memorial? Some people have brought up Eloy getting caught in the net. We could also have Dustin Fowler busting his kneecap down the right field line. Might be a little bit distasteful, but
his career died.
His career died and his knee died.
Did he sue the White Sox for that?
I think he did.
Jesus, he was going into the sidelines for 100 miles per hour. We're not going to catch this ball, brother. And yeah, that was a physical thing. If you guys haven't seen it, Google it or YouTube it, and it is vicious. For another one I have, I'm gonna have.
Yeah, why wasn't Southpaw at your wedding, Vinny? You missed an opportunity.
Hey. Sometimes there are vetoes in a wedding plan, and let's just say I didn't veto Southpaw being at the wedding.
I don't think you were advocating for it.
I was not. No.
I lost my last one, so you guys got to go with that one.
You interrupted Herb, and it just vanished.
Yeah. Are you serious? Oh, I'm sorry.
I've got a great one for you right here. I think all fans will be in support of this being immortalized in statue form. Matt Albers sliding into second base in Queens. I think that's just something that needs a statue. And obviously the inscription on the bottom can be anything that you can think of that your imagination can run wild with that one. But yeah, let's go ahead and give Matt Albers his due with that tremendous display of base running.
Since we have the goose gone, I think we need more statues out in right field. They have that weird train car. It's kind of like an L. It's kind of not like an L, right? It's kind of serving beer.
Yeah, it was it's like an L car, but it's a bar. Yeah.
Let's get it out of there. We don't need that. Move it somewhere else. Why don't we put a Joe Borchard statue there? That's where he hit his monster shot. I think our guy Connor would love that. Post swing, the Ken Griffey Jr. swing has been immortalized. Joe Borchard is just as pretty. And I think the White Sox legend needs to be remembered.
I got mine again. It's just an empty locker with cologne on top. And it says, it's just memorializing the time where Bartolo Colon left the 2009 White Sox because Michael Jackson died.
Yeah, one white glove hanging from there as well.
Yeah, just sad. It's funny to hear Ozzy tell that story.
Yeah, I didn't know that story until you told me that story. I mean, that's just absurd. I was at that game. People in center field were screaming at Matt Kemp, heckling Matt Kemp. And I was like, poor Matt Kemp. And then I was on my ride home and I was like, poor Farrah Fawcett. And then it was poor Michael Jackson. It was a rough day. I don't blame Bartolo.
I've got one here. I think, we got a lot of talk about, AJ and Michael Barrett, the famed rivalry fight there. If you're talking about confrontations, let's go ahead and build a statue of one that didn't happen, so it can have happened at least in fantasy world. And that's the fake parking lot confrontation between Lucas Giolito and Josh Donaldson that Josh Donaldson made up. That one, I think, since it didn't actually happen in real life, we can go ahead and make it happen in statue form.
Maybe if they don't want to take that statue, maybe that's a little bit too expensive. Like the punching games, like how hard is your punch? Maybe you just turn the punching bag into Josh Donaldson's face, and then you could be like Lucas Giolito in the parking lot, right? You could make it you could turn it into like a street theme and everything. Yeah, maybe there's
just like a plaque. Put a plaque actually in the parking lot that just says, "This is where Josh Donaldson did not confront Lucas Giolito."
Speaking of fighting, though, I mentioned, kind of Pompeii before. Whenever I'm in 161, I'm always greeted by, at least by the 5th, 6th, or 7th inning, some fight. So I would like, Pompeii-like statues of fans fighting. It really brings an extra level. I really don't feel threatened when fans are fighting around me. It just feels, like I'm at home. So let's immortalize some of the fans that are fighting. Maybe one can be wearing a Cubs jersey, one can be wearing a Sox jersey, because even if they're not playing each other, those two teams and those two fans are typically punching each other in the face. Final one that I have, kind of like Portillo's, at least the Portillo's that I go to on not 95th, it's 95th and Pulaski, just a little bit down the road from the abandoned Del Taco. But up on the smokestack of the Portillo's, they have a little worker hanging his little feet, enjoying his little lunch break on the top of the smokestack. This might be a little grim. A child hanging from the fundamentals deck.
Jesus Christ!
It might be a little like, oh my god, like, oh, don't look, like, oh my god, it's crazy, but it'd be funny. I think it'd be a good bit.
Would it?
Is that an actual reference to anything?
The Portillo's man hanging off. Like, I was like, oh no, that man, he's in danger. He's not. It's okay. He's enjoying his lunch. The child just had a little bit too much fun on the fundamentals deck.
No, I think we need a statue. If we're going to put a statue up of anyone, it should probably be of Cascade, right?
He's the one who started the winning streak.
He did.
He did. It was a very, very long 4-game winning streak for our 2022 White Sox. All right.
My last one would be of.
It's a fake child, by the way. It's a statue. It's a whatever. We don't have to do it.
The great George Jacobs of Windy City Limos. You know him as the M&M guy, just sitting behind home plate, or now he sits behind the White Sox dugout, just in his coat, 95 degrees, 20 degrees, still with the same coat on.
Stupid donkey says M&M guy should get a statue.
Yeah.
I agree. George Jacobs should be immortalized. Final one that I thought, maybe the ghost of free agent past. Maybe we can have like a corridor in a certain place. It doesn't have to be public, but a Bryce Harper in a White Sox uniform, Manny Machado in a White Sox uniform. I think A-Rod was, the White Sox were really in on A-Rod when he was a free agent before he signed with Texas. A-Rod in a White Sox uniform. Maybe we could have fun with that. Juan Soto was like $50,000 away from signing with the White Sox. Juan Soto in a White Sox uniform. That'd be a fun statue. I don't know. Maybe there's something there. Probably not. Which one's going to get approved out of all of these?
Well, none.
One of the Buehrle ones.
I've got one that has I think a pretty good chance of happening, and that's Tim Anderson either bat flip against the Royals or the Field of Dreams game celebration. That's like a legit statue that could literally be out there one day.
That's a statue debate. Which one's better? I mean, we could have that as a show topic.
Two TA ones would you do? I also think there's a great statue to be made of Tadahito Iguchi parallel to the ground. That would be a good one. I personally would like to see a statue of our Chuck finding a guy wearing a Donnie Lucy jersey on the concourse. That is just perfect statue material right there. And then I'll close out by saying, guys, we've got a lot of statues of people. Where are all, I like a piece of artwork that is of an animal. I like an animal artwork, be it a painting or a statue. Give me a nice, like a Western statue, like I'm pulling into a Wyoming town. Give me Johnny Cueto on a horse. That's what I want. Johnny Cueto riding a horse. That's what I want a statue of. Absolutely.
The savior of the 2022 White Sox season. He deserves it for the performances that he gave. Make sure you guys are sending more bad statue suggestions to us on Twitter. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at Eckerwall23. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. That might be a good gag. A statue of grilled onions. Like someone might be like, tempted to go eat it, but it's fake. But anyways, we hope you have a very happy holiday this weekend and a safe one and warm one as well. Make sure that if you are going outside, you are driving safely and slowly. And we will be joining you on Monday. Monday midnight, we'll be dropping a new episode. So make sure you are still tuning in next week as well. Thank you, Vinny and Herb. Thank you, Stephen Nicholas, for producing the show. And thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us in the chat. Enjoy your holiday, and we will talk to you next week. Go Sox.